One of the most common concerns that I hear across the industry, and this comes from integrators and consultants and end users, it's this. Look, we want to move to OSDP, but we don't want to have to rewire our entire building. So this leads to the most famous question that comes up in almost every single one of my OSDP conversations. Can I reuse my existing Wiegand cabling, or do I need to rewire? And the simple answer is this: you likely do not need to rewire. In fact, I've only heard of a couple of real-world cases where rewiring was actually required. That's the exception and not the norm. Don't let this cabling thing become a barrier to your OSDP adoption. Now, if there's still uncertainty, and sometimes there should be, then Cypress has built this tool specifically to remove that doubt. The Cypress OTT-2100-2 allows you to push real OSDP traffic over your existing cable. It allows you to do that at different baud rates, and then it tells you exactly how much packet loss occurred. If the test comes back with 0 packet loss, well, you can be confident that your cable will support OSDP traffic just fine. Now, before we get into the tester, let's talk briefly about what OSDP compliant cable actually means. So OSDP is based on RS-45, and ideally RS-45 cable should be a twisted pair cable. It should have an overall shield. It should be 120 ohm impedance, and it should be an overall low capacitance wire. And then when installing, you should put 120 ohm resistors at both far ends of that bus. All of those requirements exist because RS-45 is designed to go really long distances, up to 4,000 feet. And over that distance, noise and signal degradation and packet loss, they become real problems. But here's the key point. In access control, we almost never run 4,000 feet. Most reader to controller runs are closer to 80 or 150 or maybe 300 feet at most. There's usually not enough noise or attenuation to impact the signal in any sort of meaningful way. That's why in most real-world installations, non-compliant cable still works perfectly well for OSDP. Now that said, if this is a brand new installation or if you're running really long distances, then yes, absolutely use OSDP compliant cable. Do it the right way from the start. I'll do a whole episode on OSDP compliant cable in the future, so make sure you watch that. Now, let's talk about the Cypress OTT-2100-2 itself. It comes as a kit in a solid carrying case, which is a small detail, but I think it's an important one. Look, tools like this tend to disappear in the field, and Cypress clearly designed this to be something that technicians actually keep with them. Inside the case, there's 2 identical units, and then there's space for coin cell batteries as well. One unit acts as the tester, and the other acts as the echo device. The tester sends OSDP messages, and the echo device receives them and then sends them back. And then the units calculate packet loss based on what makes it round trip. You can run either a short test with 600 packets of data, or you can run this extended test with 6,000 packets of data. And you can change the baud rate anywhere from 9600 baud to faster speeds like 230,400 baud. There's status LEDs, and then the LEDs will tell you packet loss results at the very end. Now let's walk through step by step, starting with what you'd install at the controller. So step 1, at the controller side, take the 2 reader communication wires, that's your data 0 and your data 1, your green and your white wires. Land them on the echo unit. Make sure that all the dip switches on the echo unit are in the off position, and then power the unit on by moving that switch over towards test. That's it for the controller or echo side. Now step 2, move over to the reader side. Take the same corresponding data 0 and data 1, your same Wiegand wires, and land them on the test unit. You're going to flip dip switch 7 to on. That tells the device that it's the test unit. And now if you want to run that short test, you're going to leave dip switch 5 off, but if you want to run that extended 6,000 packet test, then flip dip switch 5 to on. Then power the unit on by moving the switch towards test. And then the test will start immediately. The short test takes about a minute, and the extended test takes about 5 minutes. When the test completes, the LEDs will tell you exactly how much packet loss occurred. All green means 0% loss. Other colors represent increasing levels of packet loss, all the way up to more than 50%. And that's it. It's really that simple. Now, when I first started using this tester, I wanted to be absolutely sure that it was telling the truth. And in our lab, we tested all these different kinds of non-compliant OSDP cable. We did unshielded 24 gauge at 100 feet. We did Cat 5 at 300 feet, Cat 6 at 800 feet. And we tested baud rates from low to high baud rates. So just as a reminder, I'm not recommending using any of these types of cable for OSDP for new installations. We're just trying to prove that what you have existing in the field will work for OSDP. So in every one of those tests with non-compliant OSDP cable, we saw 0% packet loss on each and every one of the tests. This seemed a little too good to be true, and I was expecting something less than perfect during these tests. So I went back to Cypress and I asked a simple question. How do I prove that this thing actually fails or this thing's actually working? So Cypress, in their true amazing customer experience Cypress fashion, had their engineering team build me a custom cable that was designed to behave perfectly at 9600 baud, but intentionally fail at 115, 200 baud. And sure enough, when we tested it, the results were exactly what they said they would be. Clean performance at the low speeds and high packet loss at the high speeds. This gave me a lot of confidence, not just in the tester itself, but also with Cypress as a company. They really get what they make and they stand behind their tools. I'm really impressed with what they're creating. This kit's also really affordable and it's available through many different distribution partners. So if you're an integrator, this should be something essential in your bag. Look, we really need to be using OSDP everywhere from here on out, both for migrations from Wiegand and for new installations. 100% of the time, no excuses. And we should not let the fear around existing non-compliant cables slow us down. That's the Mercury Minute. Stay open and stay secure, my friends. See y'all next time.